Sonny writes in and says, Dear Dad, today I found out that one of my ex-girlfriends is a hooker. And I was thinking, what makes someone end up doing this? Signed, Sonny. Sonny, I hate to break this to you. Chances are she was a hooker when you knew her. She just hadn't told you. But most people I've known who are hookers become hookers because, get this, they like money. I don't know a lot of people who've become hookers because they find it to be rewarding, satisfying, exciting. They do it because it pays really, really well. But Sonny's email brings up another very interesting question here. Because actually this happened to me, somebody I was dating. Not somebody I took seriously, but somebody I was dating. Later on, turned out she became a call girl in London. Now, I was a teenager when I knew this chick, and she had not been a hooker up to this point. In fact, jokingly, maybe only half-jokingly, I suggested to some friends at the time, when we were talking about what everyone was going to become when they grew up, I suggested she would become a hooker, and then she did. Nobody had any idea. And it's not always an occupation that surprises you down the line. Things happen down the line that will shock and amaze. Let me throw some of the ones out that I know of. They weren't all me. Some were me, some were not. But some of these are amazing. Ever been with somebody who down the line became a priest or a nun? Or a Hare Krishna? Somebody down the line who became a murderer? Ever dated somebody like that? You found out later on they were like a murderer or a rapist? Ever turn on the TV and see somebody you had a relationship with and there they are being led out of someplace in handcuffs? Ever see somebody you dated on a wanted poster? You're at the post office picking up some 37-cent stamps. You look up on the bulletin board there at the post office, and there's a sketch of your ex-boyfriend. That ever happened to you? Look at the phones, Dino. I know I'm not alone. So it could be an occupation, or it could be just something really, really bad that happened to somebody. Or they became somebody really, really bad, or really, really, who knows? Maybe something really, really great. You know, maybe one day you dated Bill Gates. Back when you were a teenager, and he was too busy to go out with you. And you used to complain all the time that all he wanted to do was play with his slide rule and his calculator. And then one day you turned around and it was Bill Gates. How many women broke up with Brad Pitt back when he was dressed as a chicken? Do you know about this? One of my favorite stories in the whole world. Brad Pitt, before he became the well-known actor Brad Pitt, was employed here in Los Angeles to dress as a chicken and stand in front of an El Pollo Loco. I'm not making this up. That's one of the jobs he used to have. Don't you have to wonder about how many people said, you know what, you're such a loser? Why don't you go get a real job? By the way, this is something that happened to me. And this woman knows who she is. Tell you this story. One time, I dated a woman when I was very early on in my radio career. I mean, I could not find full-time work. I played a character on one radio show, like, one of those phone-in characters. I wrote comedy for another show. I was a sidekick part-time on another show. But I was never the full-time guy. Never. There was a period of time when I couldn't get into the radio business at all. One of the times when I was working on a radio program, through working on the show, I met this really hot chick. And I moved in with her. And sometime after I moved in, the radio gig fell apart. And I had no more radio gigs, and so for the time being, I had to go take a day job. And I took a job. This is 100% true. I took a job at Citibank, the customer service department. If you had a Visa card from Citibank, you would call up the 800 number, and you would say, my interest rate is too high, or I got billed for something that wasn't mine. It was my job to figure out what to do for you. And suddenly, I'd been Mr. Radio, who met this really hot 23-year-old chick through my radio gig. Suddenly, I was the guy who worked at Citibank, who was just a big loser. So one day, while I was at work, she threw all of my stuff, my little bit of furniture that I had, my suitcases, all of my clothes, all of my possessions. She put them out in the hallway of our apartment building and called a locksmith and changed the locks. Then, at lunchtime at work, she called me and she said, you better get over here because your stuff is sitting out in the hallway. And when I got there, she had the door chained, and she peeked out the door and she said, call me back when you get a real job. Guess what? I got a real job, you loser! And the best part of this story is that when I got my first big gig in Los Angeles, I was part of a story on the TV show 2020. And they filmed me in the studio. And when they filmed me in the studio, the microphone had a mic flag on it with the name of the radio station I was on in L.A. And this chick was in New York. She apparently saw 2020 and saw me on it. This was 8-9 years later. She sees me on 2020, and she calls information for the phone number of the radio station in Los Angeles, and I'm sitting at my desk, and my phone rings, and it's this voice from the past that I had not spoken to or seen in 9 years. Hey, how you doing? I saw you on 2020. Did you ever get to New York? Never saw her again. But you see, it can be good and it can be bad. Good things and bad things could happen. But there you are with somebody. For whatever reason, things didn't work out. And down the line, you either saw them as being notorious or dangerous, or they had good things happen to them or bad things happen to them. Who knows? Maybe they won $100 million in Powerball. I don't know. Point is, you're with somebody, for whatever reason, it didn't work out, and then down the line, something really outrageous happened involving them. And you know about it. Maybe you saw it on TV. Maybe somebody called you and told you. Maybe you ran into the person in the street. Maybe they were giving the inaugural address at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. You never know. If you've ever had a relationship with somebody who down the line either became, I don't know, one of America's most wanted, or became one of America's richest, most famous, successful people, tell me about it.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. 1-800-5800-866.
I got a question for you, man. My girlfriend found my porn collection, and she's kind of mad at me. She thinks that masturbation's just like cheating.
How old are you?
I'm 18.
At 18, masturbation is not only a birthright, it's a necessity.
The Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Thank you for tuning in. Thanks for being part of our program. All right. Something outrageous happened to somebody you used to date. You heard about it, you saw them, whatever. Patricia on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello, Tom. How you doing?
Okay, Patricia.
My ex-boyfriend, scholar athlete, is now a male prostitute and a crackhead.
No.
Yes.
How did you find that out?
Well, it all started in our senior year. He stopped coming to school, and he started telling people that he had sickle cell anemia. And one thing led to another, and he was already trafficking the drug. One thing led to another, and we found out that he started draining his waterbed and stealing from people. And we literally started seeing him on the street begging for cash.
Why was he, wait, why was he draining his waterbed?
He drained his waterbed to sell it.
Oh, okay.
Drained it in 15 minutes, and then he called me about 2 years later and begged me for some money. He was trying to get a post-dated check from me. And anybody who has went to high school with us, we've all seen him walking down the street. Butt cutters on. You can't imagine.
So he still lives in the neighborhood?
Yes, he does.
Wow. And how do you know he's a crackhead?
He was on crack in our senior year. And
were you dating him at the time?
No, I dated him before that.
I see.
And my mother never liked him, and that was one of the reasons why our relationship dissolved, because she just felt really uncomfortable about him. And right around the time he started telling people he had sickle cell was when he started using his supply.
And how did you know that?
You just know when somebody is on crack. I mean, he admitted that he was on it. He actually did go into a rehab for a period. But he never fully recovered. He would just go back and forth. Initially, he was only stealing from people. But then eventually, in the early 90s, he went to prostitution.
No.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was odd. It was odd knowing that I had went out with him, knowing that he was a scholar athlete. He played track and football. He was extremely popular, very well built. All the girls liked him. And he was prostituting himself for drugs and money.
Wow. And did you ever have any idea that he could be with a guy?
Not at all.
Even
Not at all.
Money?
He loved the ladies, and the ladies loved him. There was no inkling. He was never effeminate, never feminine, nothing like that.
Wow. Unbelievable.
It was.
Well, Patricia, thank you. Were you freaked out when you heard this?
Yeah, it was more creepy, and I just had like an internal tingling inside my stomach.
Did you ever think to yourself, like, well, you know, maybe if my mom hadn't said stop dating him, maybe none of this ever would have happened?
Possibly, but I was more nervous of, like, any type of...
After I dropped him, he turned to crack.
Take me out African tribal style.
Here you go, Patricia. It's 1-800-5800-TOM. Andrea, you're on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Andrea.
It's a cute story, actually. I dated Brian Phelps from KLOS, Mark and Brian.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
And I actually dated him a long time ago when I was in L.A. doing some PA work for movies.
This is before he was the Mark and Brian?
Yeah, the big. And he was actually writing a cute little song called It's a Wedding. I don't know but I was watching TLC on TV one night, and him and Mark were actually singing this song that actually Brian was writing when we were dating, and it was a goofy song. And I'm just embarrassed now because now he's Mark and Brian, and he sung that song on a wedding on a TLC program, so I was stupid.
And how old was he when you dated him?
Oh, gosh, I don't remember. I think we're around the same age. He might be a little bit older than me. I'm 36. I think he's in his early 40s. But I still contact him now. My husband's not too happy about that.
I'll bet.
Every once in a while, I just call up, Brian, see how he's doing, but they're doing very well. So mine was a stupid story, actually. I didn't continue.
Were you surprised to...
He's a really fun guy, but very goofy. And it just, at that time, just wasn't my cup of tea. And I just thought, I wasn't rude to him or anything, but...
But did you ever think, my God, I could have hit the jackpot with this guy?
Could have hit the jackpot big time. But he likes to date around, so I'm glad I didn't kind of stick with that.
We all do. Some of us lie about it.
Yes. But it's a cute story. Sorry, it's not a bad story. It's actually...
Oh, no, I said some of them might be good, some of them might be bad.
Yeah, this is a good story. And when you're in L.A. and you're doing PA work, you kind of...
Just imagine all the women who dumped me because I was a loser.
See, that's sad. Because, you just don't know. You just never know. How about people who used to date Bill Clinton? Now they're glad.
Some of them still do?
Probably. Probably. But anyway, that's my story.
Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Appreciate the call. It's Dave on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Dave.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I had a girlfriend. We moved to Vegas to start a business, and bad thing.
All right, we'll get a better connection. Let's say hi to Kirsten on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hi, Tom. I just turned on and heard what you were talking about. About 5 years ago, I was dating this guy, and he broke up with me for one reason or another. And through some friends, I found out that he met this girl in Hollywood at a club and started hanging out with her every night for about 10 days. And they were just fooling around. I guess they hadn't had sex or anything. And it was getting to that point. She called him and said she needed him to come back up. She wanted to talk to him face to face. So he gets all the way back up there, and he thinks that she's going to finally, give it to him. And what she gives him, actually, is that she was born a man but has had all the surgery to make her anatomically a woman.
No!
Yes. And I said, well, that's what you deserve for breaking up with me, honey. And I haven't seen him since, so I don't know. Maybe he's still with her.
That is I must tell you, that is my worst nightmare.
Well, especially in Hollywood, too. Some of them look so good you wouldn't know the difference.
Well, you know what? I don't care how good they look on the outside. That's a face that had stubble.
So that's all I had to say. I just thought that's what he got. He got what he deserved for breaking up with me.
Thank you, Kirsten.
Thank you.
Lisa, on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Well, you think you know somebody, and it turns out you never know a person. I was dating a guy who I thought was really straight and narrow, and we dated for 3 years, never did drugs, never drank or anything, and then I broke up with him for other reasons, and then 2 weeks later I agreed to meet with him to talk about maybe getting back together, and I was greeted at the door by him and a voice that said, "Don't move or I'll shoot, I swear I'll kill you." And I closed the door on him, and pretty soon before I knew it, I was shot. And it turned out he committed suicide a couple of years later, and I found out he owed $25,000 in coke money. And I had no idea that he was anywhere like that. He was such a good-looking,
Such
nice
a great guy.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you meet someone in a bar in the early 80s, And we never did drugs or anything, and I almost married this guy, and he was a big-time freebaser.
Unbelievable. And he showed no signs of it at all. Unbelievable.
It's the Tom Leykis Show. This is the Tom Leykis Show.
One 800-5800-TOM. That's the number here. All right, there you were dating somebody. You had a relationship with somebody, and down the line, after you split up with them or they split up with you, something really bad or really good happened to them. I don't know. They were notorious for some reason or another. Something really bad. They became a murderer, a rapist, the hillside strangler. You know what I'm talking about. Or maybe something really good. They became Mark Cuban. You never know. 1-800-5800-TOM. Shauna on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Shauna.
I just had a quick story to tell you. I went to a party about 5 years ago, and we were really wasted, and we wanted a cigarette, and we see this cute guy, and we walk up and ask him for a cigarette, and he says that I have to kiss my best friend to get a cigarette from him. So we ended up doing it, and the next day we find out that he went home and killed his 2 children, his wife, and himself.
Wow.
Yeah.
That must have been some kiss.
Well, that was just kind of creepy. We should have figured he was kind of weird, but...
Well, how could you guess he would kill his entire family and himself?
Well, yeah, nobody had a clue, but we found out like a week later, so...
Were you creeped?
Yeah, really creeped out.
And did you read it in the paper, or did somebody tell you?
Yeah, the guy who threw the party was a close friend of mine and also a close friend of the guy that killed himself and his children. And he ended up telling me about it, but it was in the paper.
Did he ever leave, like, a reason or a note or anything?
No, just out of the blue, no reason at all.
Wow.
Yep, but that's all I had to say.
Thank you, Shauna.
Yeah, you have a great day, Tom.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. Queen on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi, Queen.
How are you?
Do you care, darling?
Of course I care. I love you, love you, love you.
Oh, I love that.
Now, my ex-boyfriend from high school, he's in this religion called the Hebrew Israelites. He has 9 wives. He has 6 wives, about 9 kids, and he asked me would I like to be a part of his concubine. Then I had another ex-boyfriend who's on crack, and the most recent ex-boyfriend is gay. I found out he's gay now.
Well, you know how to pick them.
Or he turned gay. Maybe I got on his nerves so much he just got sick of women. I don't know.
I thought you were going to tell me your last boyfriend was a radio talk show host.
I wish it was something good.
Oh, I understand. Well, no, I said a radio talk show host. Maybe you didn't hear me.
Oh, yeah. Radio talk show host. That's real cool. If he was cool like you, I would really love it. I'd have a nice, happy success story to tell.
Look at you.
Can you take me out, Halle Berry style, with a bong hit and a Snoop Dogg?
Here we go, Queen.
Biatch.
1-800-5800-TOM is our telephone number. This is Jay on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
How you doing, Tom?
All right, Jay.
I got a great story for you, man. My girlfriend of 3 years broke up with me all of a sudden one day just on a whim. A few months later, it was Valentine's Day, and I was still depressed. This is before I started listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
She comes over at like 10 a.m. I'm still in a blanket because I'm tired. And she's all, hey, I knew you wouldn't be seeing anyone yet, so I just came by to say hello. Lousy jerk. Well, she says hello and then wants me to walk her to the car. She says, come on, meet my friends. I walk out, and there's this huge black Escalade in front of my house. So I'm like, great, more rich people. You know, she was one of those material girls.
Yeah.
Well, she gets in the car, and sitting next to her, I see Snoop and Nate Dogg.
No.
Are
you serious?
Morning, I am dead serious.
Wow. And so Snoop looked at you and he said,
Biatch.
He didn't do anything. He just kind of welcomed my ex-girlfriend in the car, told the driver to leave.
Unbelievable. And she just had to do that. She just had to, like, bring him by.
Of course.
I'll bet you didn't enjoy that. It was not like watching an episode of Entertainment Tonight. You were not happy.
No, I was not.
No. Yikes.
Well, that's all I wanted. Take me out Snoop style.
All right, here you go. 1-800-5800-TOM. He's our telephone number. Robert on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how are you doing?
All right, Robert.
I went to Hollywood High in the mid-'80s, and I actually went to the Performing Arts School. I was an actor, or at least trying to be at that time, and I was dating a lovely lady, blonde girl by the name of Patty Arquette.
Patty?
Yeah, well, she at that time she went by Patty. Now she goes obviously by Patricia Arquette.
Yes.
Yes, and I was friends with her brother, Robert, at the time, and we had a lovely time. She was a nuts girl, infatuated with Marilyn Monroe.
Really?
Infatuated with her, yes. I mean, she was doing like little commercial things here or there and doing stuff in the plays, but she was atrocious. She was horrible. So I never expected her to become who she is now, you know, doing big feature films.
Oh, I've dated actresses who've never, ever made it. I've never seen them anywhere. So
that's my point.
That would shock me.
When I was there, that's all I dated was other actresses and what have you, and models, whatever, and they never. I mean, I don't know how many of them I dated that were there, and I've never seen any of them do anything. But yeah, we dated for a while, and then I realized that she was dating a whole lot of people at the time.
And then when did you realize she became somebody?
Well, I actually pretty much right out of high school, because she got I forget what movie, but she did some flick right after we got out of high school, and And I contacted her after then, wanted to say hi, see how she was doing. And she, of course, didn't remember me at that point. I had to go through people and what have you.
Yes.
But, yeah, it got,
Talk to my publicist.
Yeah, exactly. It was really funny. But I keep in contact with her brother, who now goes by, the name Alexis. Yeah, that was a pretty crazy moment when I saw that she was because she at the same year that we went to school, Nicolas Cage went there at the same time. So that was and then they hooked up obviously later, which was kind of a funny side story as well.
Boy, that is a funny story.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
You amuse me.
Well, thank you so much. I love when you're condescending like that. It turns me on.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.
The Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. All right, you dated somebody, and later on down the line, something really outrageous happened to them. Well, they did something really outrageous. Richard on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hi, Tom.
Hi.
My name is really not Richard. I'm actually calling in using that name. But, about 5 years ago, I dated this woman. I mean, she was a psycho bitch, and you know all of them.
Mm-hmm.
But this girl, I ended up cheating on her just because she was such a psycho, and I almost got caught. Literally, I was like tooth and nails away from getting caught, and I knew that if I did get caught, it would just be really, really, really bad. So I ended up dumping her and taking off so that the girl couldn't, find where I took off to. Well, it ends up, she ended up kind of dating a friend of mine. I mean, she was a really hot girl, and she, my friends even thought she was hot. This guy did end up getting caught, and she shot him. It was one of those situations. I remember looking back and remembering, like, the whole scenario when I took off. And I thought that she could do something like that, and that's the reason I took off. But, I never really thought it would ever actually happen to someone. But this girl, I mean, she's doing time now. Luckily, my friend didn't, he's alive. But it was really, really bizarre situation. She was just a psycho.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you first heard about that, you probably felt the pain of the bullet yourself?
Well, I mean, it was so close. I mean, I had done the exact same thing, only I knew to get out. I think he was trying to, maybe work it out with her or something. I don't know what he was thinking, but what a psycho.
Unbelievable. Bob on the Tom Leykis Show.
Hello, Tom. How the hell are you?
Do you care, Bob?
You're damn straight I care, brother.
Doing great.
Hey, I had this situation back when I was in my late 20s. I was dating this gal I met when I was playing in a band and stuff, and she had this was long before I even knew about you or knew anything about you. And single mom, she had the 16-year-old daughter, she had the 11-year-old son. I was into the older woman thing, thought it was great. But she would never really relate to her past other than telling me that she was divorced and had moved back from Colorado out here to California.
And you didn't care because you were getting some regular poon.
And not just regular poon, psycho bitch poon, and it was the best.
Wow.
Anywhere, anytime.
Wow.
And come to find out, she finally let me know what was going on when I finally DTB'd her because come to find out she was like a grifter. We went to the Disneyland Hotel and she was trying to hit me up to get me to rule these guys, trying to say, hey, I'm going to bring this rich guy down and you knock him out. And I said, hell with you. I walked home from there. But make a long story short, come to find out what had happened was she had actually stabbed her ex-husband to death. She used to work in a meatpacking factory in Colorado. I thought about that and said, hell, man, I could wake up laying on a meat hook some morning all carved to pieces. So I got the hell out of there, man.
Wow.
Then, to top the whole thing off, I go into the local post office, and there's her mug and a picture of her kids on a wanted post in Colorado.
See, that was one of the examples I gave at the beginning, and it happened to you.
Yeah, I tell you, I was scared. Excuse me.
Wow. And did you ever hear from her again?
No, thank God. I gave her a ride to the airport and never saw or heard from her again. And
did you follow up on whether she's still one of the most wanted or whether she got caught?
No, I never did. I never did.
I'd give that John Walsh a call. Find out.
That might be a good idea, brother.
Thank you, Bob.
You bet.
Appreciate the call. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Mike on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom. I
Mike.
was talking about my outrageous story. About 10 years ago, I was dating a girl, and in the middle of the night, we're having sex. She ends up having a stroke. And at the time, I didn't know she stroked. I just thought she was drunk and, couldn't get her wits about her. And so I went and slept on the couch, and then the next morning about noon, I hear some fumbling around by the wall and whatnot, and I get up to see what's going on, and I look at her, and what's going on with you? And she doesn't answer, just kind of, my head hurts, and she's walking on she can't use her left side, and so I watched her, and she's only talking out of the right side of her face, and come to find out she had a stroke when we were having sex.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, well, and when we were having sex, I can tell something changed. I know the distinct moment when it happened, but at the time I didn't know, and so she's fidgeting around, whatever, just being unresponsive, and I get off, and
you didn't care. You just kept going.
Well, at the time I didn't know,
Yeah, she's having a stroke. So what? I'm going to finish. I'm going to finish when I started.
Finished the job. I took her to the bathroom, thought she had the fur up. She hits her head on the bathroom, on the bathtub, and yeah, it was the weirdest thing, and she ended up stroking a couple times after that, and suffered paralysis permanently, but it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Wow. You made a chick have a stroke. Unbelievable.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM.
I'm not asking somebody to support me. I'm asking somebody to be my better half.
More intelligent than you are.
Yeah, I just want a guy to be my equal. It'd be great if he made more money than I
got your
did.
equal right here.
Yeah, I bet you do.
It's the Tom Leykis.
Tom Leykis Show at 1-800-5800-TOM. That's our telephone number. All right, you dated somebody, and down the line, something outrageous happened to them. 1-800-5800-866. Jolene on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Pretty good.
Okay, I have a story. In my early 20s, I used to go out to Palm Springs like a lot of people used to do and go to Pompeii's and Cecil's and hang out. And I met a gentleman one night, or I thought he was a gentleman anyways, at Pompeii's, and we were with a bunch of my girlfriends, and really good-looking Italian guy, kind of buffed, and we exchanged phone numbers. He lived in L.A., and I kind of started dating him, and we'd go out back and forth to Palm Springs. And he always was he carried a gun on him. He told me the reason why is because he was a bounty hunter. And every time we go into a restaurant or anywhere, he was always looking around him and watching his back kind of thing, and made me kind of nervous. So I stopped dating the guy, and about 5 years later, I'm watching TV, and he was on America's Most Wanted. He was a hitman, and he was actually involved in those Cotton Club murders.
No.
That was freaky and scary.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Yeah, you had sex with the guy?
Pardon me?
You had sex with the guy, though?
Yeah, that was a long time ago, yeah.
How was it?
Actually, he was Italian, so he was excellent.
He was Italian, so he was excellent. All he has to be is Italian.
Well, he was good looking. That helped, too.
Yeah, good looking. And when you thought back on him being a hitman, did it change your memory of sex with him, or did it make it more exciting?
A little of both, I guess.
You were having sex with a hitman. He was a hitman.
Well, it wasn't that hard to believe that he was a bounty hunter because he played the part. So, I mean, I guess they're not that different from each other. In fact, one's legal and one's not, right?
Well, bounty hunting in some places is not legal, but by the same token, being a hitman is always illegal.
Exactly.
100% of the time.
Well, thanks, Tom. I just thought I'd share that story with you.
Jolene, thank you. 1-800-5800-TOM. It's Greg on the Tom Leykis Show. Hello.
Hello. I dated Darva Conjure.
Oh, no. Really?
Yeah.
That was before she was well known for 5 minutes.
Yes. It shocked the mess out of me when I saw her on TV. I said, oh, my God, I hit that. Oh, man, I couldn't believe it when I saw her on television. I just started laughing because I couldn't get her out of my place, man. She didn't want to leave. I told her, I said, you got to go. I said, it was good. It was nice, but, you know, you ain't got to get up, but you got to get the hell out of here.
Unbelievable. Thanks a lot for the call, Greg. I appreciate it. Our email.
Tom Leykis. 1-800-5800-TOM. Tom Leykis.
I would rather lose a testicle than miss your show.
Why, thank you for that.
It's the Tom Leykis Show.